As far as bans for K-State, I think Set sits very high up after seeing what we saw earlier today. You get Crisis on that set, and it is not good for the other team. If you force him onto something a little squishier, like the Fiora, it looks like he plays a little bit of Yone as well. It looks like it's a little easier to deal with. Also, I think we got a Draven ban all 3 games, so we didn't get to see that. But I think Big Wimbo really likes to play that Draven.
Yeah, we'll see if they maybe they sub that out for another pick because he did play it in this in the round robins yesterday, but it didn't pan out too much. So we're actually getting pretty close to doing to draft phase. Let me switch this over real quick. Uh, okay, and I should also mic's right there. That's it. We'll lower headset just a little bit. Yeah, just waiting on the teams to give the go ahead to start banning phase. Uh, yeah, I mean it's gonna be really should be really interesting games. It seems like K State, from the sounds of it, they're performing pretty well compared to yesterday. I know we having that sub can really break up their team comp a lot. And already we're seeing the set ban
Saw
right
that coming.
away, followed by the Seraphine ban. Not really surprising. Seraphine being such a strong contender, both teams like to play it. Not a bad idea to ban out when you don't have first pick.
Yeah, you know the champ sells a lot of skins, so you know what that means.
All right,
Gotta be
followed up,
OP.
and
Very
still
strong champion at the least.
K State still respecting the Draven ban, which is not too surprising, but see what how that pans out for them in the pick phase. Also, Kaisa banned from Ithaca. Not surprising. You know, both these champions being so high on the prior list for both teams, and just being really strong in the current meta in general. And yeah, Yone and Vigar banned. So Ithaca trying to maybe uh, lower the pool for their mid laner as much as they can, and maybe they think that he doesn't have that many champions under his belt.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting bit of banning. I guess the Vigar makes sense based on what you said. Um, Not sure about the Yone. I think it might even be played more top for these guys than mid. Maybe force him onto that Fiora again for Crisis.
Yeah, just trying to limit the potential he has because very clearly Crisis is a very strong mid laner on these duelers. If he can get ahead, especially on the set, it can be really nasty for the enemy team if they try to do a protect comp.
Oh wow, I didn't know K State was cool like that.
Ah,
I
yes,
see
the
a little Cho'Gath
Cho'Gath.
pick. I am intrigued. My interest is peaked here. That is my boy. Nice. I love to see that. I think Cho'Gath is very underrated.
Yeah, I mean, Cho'Gath, he sees quite a bit. I feel like he sees a moderate amount of play in ACC. I know when we have our top laners, anytime we have top laners who maybe aren't the best duelists, we'll stick him on the Cho'Gath rotation just because he doesn't even require that much individual skill. He can be such a nuisance as a front line to get around and provide a lot of meat shielding for the team without really needing a whole lot from the individual player, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'd say he's one of those champs where he can get ahead and really make a game happen. From even as a tank with that ulti.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the ultimate. It does scale into late game. Even you have that limit of 6 minions, but 6 minions is a lot for having to use. You have to use your ultimate 6 times, and if you get any of them, and any of those ultimates land on enemy champions, that just raises your potential to scale even more. So yeah, no, Cho'Gath's a really strong pick. Following up with a Malzahar and Zillion. Yeah, I mean, just a really strong lockdown from K State so far. And we're seeing a bit of counter. It's interesting seeing that into a Morgana, someone who can counter that lockdown a little bit. Um, let's see what else they
Yeah,
pick.
it looks like they're building up towards maybe a hyper scaling ADC.
Oh, in the Varus pick, we'll have to see what kind of build he goes on Varus. I know last game, actually, I wasn't even not sure what this build was last game when he played Varus. I wasn't
If
paying
I'm
a whole lot of
Ithaca here,
attention.
I may be banning the Jinx out.
Yeah, I can see maybe locking out some of their potential picks. Although they're going to go for the Viego ban, not wanting that Viego jungle that can be really scary with a Zillion pick, especially. I know it's a combination that K State likes or liked running, if I remember correctly. The Viego with Zillion, or at the very least we saw it yesterday, and it was pretty strong. Oh, respecting the Master Yi with that ban.
You know what?
Oh,
It won the
okay.
game. So say what you want, but it did work
It did work.
earlier on.
They haven't been in internal talks, and they don't know that Master Yi was not a favorite of this jungler. Also, the Graves, yeah, trying really hard to limit the picks that Halachu has. You already have two AP picks, so banning out those AD options for the jungler can be really bad if Halachu doesn't have another pick to follow it up. Oh, it's going to be the Lee Sin jungle. It's not a champion you see that much anymore. It's very difficult to. It can be kind of difficult. He used to be such an all-star in pro play, but it seems he's kind of fallen by the wayside for a lot of newer picks and newer champions like the Viego, like I said. But could be really powerful. A really good AD selection for Ithaca.
Yeah, he's still got the ability to do a lot of damage, and the gank potential is definitely there. It's just a matter of how does he scale into the late game. He's more of appealing champ with us all once the game gets into the late phases.
Yeah, it looks like so far with Ithaca's comp, they're kind of looking to be more poke and siege oriented, not really wanting to take these fights. So, yeah, Akali has a lot of dive, but she has a lot of ways to exit a fight as well. So I think so far it seems Ithaca's going for more of that angle. Meanwhile, K State's just going all in with the Lucian Kane pick. They really want to get this lockdown on the enemy team and really like force engages from the looks of it. What's the last pick gonna be?
Yeah, I like that comp. It's with the speed boost from Zillion, and then all the lockdown and engage they have on K State. It's looking pretty good over there so far. I mean, the Morgana has the peel potential, obviously, and that's hard to deal with.
Oh, last
Um,
pick Swain mid for Ithaca.
wow, interesting.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
know that was a permaban for the other team last game. And we'll see if there was a reason for that. I think it was banned all 3 games.
yeah, I mean, Swain can be pretty threatening if you don't know how to handle him. He just gets a free lane. Late game, he just becomes such a disrupting force. That ultimate can keep him alive for so long while he's ulting your team with the Qs and landing the hooks. Which, by the way, with the Swain rework, those hooks are on an even shorter cooldown when he's in his ult form, so it can be really tough for a team to deal with.
Yeah, I wonder what the lanes are looking like for Ithaca here. Whether that's a Kali mid, Swain tops. I have to imagine that's what it is. Neither one of those are particularly good against Cho'Gath though, with his sustain and ability for burst damage. So um, it's going to be a tough matchup for them to deal with the Cho'Gath in the top lane here.
Yeah, I mean, so far, from what I can see, we're kind of looking at Ithaca having this really siege oriented. They're probably going to be focusing on individual lanes, maybe trying to force a lot of poke to keep K State from getting these objectives. Meanwhile, K State on the other end is wanting to use these really big cooldowns to get either individual picks or just force team fights where Kane can kind of get into the enemy team and uh, disrupt a lot while Lucian does all his damage. Really interesting comps from both teams. With that said, we're gonna take about 3 or 4 minutes while the teams get into games, and we will be right back with Game 1 of the finals for the Emporia Invitational.
Yeah, that Akali top is going to have to get a lead really earlier. She is going to become irrelevant up there real quick. But early on, she does have the damage to go toe to toe with the Cho'Gath and come ahead. Yeah, that Q start was really bad, man. That's why you got to hold on to that spell until you absolutely need to level it. I think that absolutely warranted taking the E, especially that's viable on Lucian anyway. Like the E start for the double shot is absolutely viable level one. So big misplay there for K State. Man, that was almost really well played by the Kane there, leveling his E. That was smart. I mean, that's normally not what you would do, but he took it to get the health back, and it almost paid off. But I think the Swain auto got through over the wall barely. So yeah, another bad uh, series of events there. This has been a fiesta of the highest order so far. Oh, Nick, it looks like you're muted again. So you're gonna need to. They're missing out on your
All right, sorry about that, guys.
analysis here.
All right, well, it's all right. It was an early game. I was talking a lot though.
Yeah, it's been kind of a fiesta so far. It's not a boring game, which we do love to see. I mean, I'd rather see this than no kills leading into like 12 minutes, 13 minutes. This is definitely more fun.
Yeah, it's been really crazy. I mean, Crisis. Luckily, sorry, Ithaca has been very good with trying to match that Kane early aggression. You know, after losing that early first blood, young Ion thought that he would be relatively safe in doing that, but Crisis was there. Oh, it looks like young Ion's getting collapsed on here by Halachu and Stormgator. But he will use his E to try to get a little bit of HP back, but they're in hot pursuit. Going to pass over the wall, but Halachu's following close behind. The claw comes out, and the zap is going to put young Ion in the ground.
Yeah, just you know, as the Kane, you got to be careful, man, especially against something like a Lee Sin. I don't know, maybe he hasn't seen Lee Sin a lot lately, but that champ is an early game menace 1v1, especially against a Kane with no form, and he is not playing like that. I think starting maybe the Raptors on if he started Ithaca's Raptors, perhaps that would have been a little bit better, but going straight for the red buff was real greedy.
Yeah, Crisis getting a clean solo kill. Oh, does not die to tower even. Managed to win that fight rather without much hassle.
Yeah, good micro there on the Akali. I like to hate on the champ, but you know, he played it well. He landed his E, so you know he did it.
A little bit of contempt in your voice, seeing your baby Cho'Gath get squashed like a bug there.
You know, he did land the E, and then in mid-flight on the E, he threw his W down for some extra energy. So a little bit of good micro there from him, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is incredibly bloody start to the final series. But now we're kind of slowing down a little bit here. We see Top kind of pushing in the only real lane with any sort of presence. Although, I might be looking for a potential. Yep, he drops the E. The Q does land. He's going to eat a lot of damage after being slowed for so much. He's trying to match in blind, but it will not matter. Crisis will go down.
Yeah, solid gank there from the Kane. That's one of the strengths of that champion is walls do not matter as they do for other champions. He just you know, shifts right through it, and then you can get some interesting ganking angles like that where you wouldn't expect to be hit from as a top laner. So A good gank for him. Gets K-State on the
Oh,
board.
good catch from Ithaca there. That binding into the Varus Q, just proving that combo would be really nasty. You have to respect Morgana, or else it can go really badly for you.
Yeah, and on top of that, people don't respect the QW combo on the Varus, where you charge that thing up and it gets the percent health damage.
It looks like that's just trying to catch this wave, but he is eating quite a bit here. It looks like Lachu's trying to take the pressure that his bot lane got to force a dragon here. Young Ion might look to get potential steal, but we'll see how he responds.
That was a really heads-up Swain W there. They had no vision of the Kane and was able to spot him out, so good on him.
Yeah, really solid.
Oh, they do have a ward there, actually. My fault on that, but
it's
yeah,
come
still.
down to it. It's going to be 50-50. Oh, and the Malzahar is the one that secures the dragon. Meanwhile, Kane picks up the Lee Sin. A Dalinator showing the strength in that Malzahar CC. Stormgator is trying to burn through while his team is here to back him up. They will take all three members of K-State here in return for that dragon.
Yeah, it's interesting. The pool under the Malzahar ult does a lot of percent health damage. Maybe I think that might be what took the dragon down. But you're not going to beat that Swain early game with his ult up, man. You gotta kite that out, and they just weren't able to do it. Unfortunately for K-State, it has really not been going their way so far. So I don't know what they need to do to get back in this. I think the Kane needs to slow down. He's died 3 times already, man. And it's tough when you get behind as a jungler. I know you're trying to make things happen for your team, but he needs to farm up, get his form, and hit that power spike. Right now, he is not going to be able to do much for the next couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean that's the catch-22 of the Kane pick. You know, you're such a weak champion early game without either of your forms, but also you need to be in these engagements to get your form in the first place. So I don't not gonna put too much weight on Young Ion here for his death count so far, but it really depends on where his form is at and how quickly he's able to. If he's close at all, then sure, I can forgive those early deaths, but it really comes down to how fast he can get his form going up from here.
Yeah, it's tough too against a team that has only 2 melee champions. I think he's done a lot of fighting in bot lane as well against the Swain. So he's kind of mixing up his form here, making it take a little bit longer to get, which is a big bummer. I know that's one of the bigger power spikes in the game is Kane once he gets. I'm assuming that red form here. I don't think he will be seeing the blue form.
Yeah, I mean red form would make a lot of sense considering how the team you're into. A Swain, a Kali, Lee Sin. You don't really have a lot of really good targets for your blue form. Oh, looks like Red Rosehawk is going for the 2v1 here, dropping the ult and the flash, forcing a heal and flash from Drasco. Does miss the binding. One and only Deft is dropping the ultimate and will go down to Deft. Meanwhile, top lane, Crisis getting ulted by the Kane, trying to possibly tower dive the Akali. Inblind doing a really... Oh, never mind. Inblind almost had a really clean tower tanking.
No, that was actually very good. I think he may have been able to take one more, and then if he didn't take damage from the Akali, I didn't see early on in the fight, he could have executed instead. But it was a good idea to get under turret while the Kane was still in his ulti, and take that turret aggro. Yeah, he definitely could have taken one more shot. So maybe if he sat there for one more, but it did look like the Kane was going to get out. That turret did a lot of damage with that ramping damage.
Yeah, the tower damage can be... It doesn't hit a whole lot at the start, but if you let it hit enough times, it will start burning through your HP. It's like Halachu's looking for Drasco here, trying to catch him out, and hits the ultimate for the quick kill on Zilean.
Yeah, he's trying to burst him down before he could get that ulti off. I don't think it would have mattered. It was three Ithaca members there versus 1 K-State, but still, good play.
Yeah, very, very clean. Means you're getting to your farm a little bit faster, so you can't.
True, and you never want to be that Lee Sin that tries to execute with his ult and just kicks the guy away, but he didn't have that problem for sure. He's got a lot of damage right now with the serrated Dirk.
No fear. Yeah, we see it. That is a good point. We are seeing a full AD Lee Sin. So that dragon kick is going to scale pretty hard, It has a pretty high AD ratio. I haven't checked it for forever, but I believe it's like 0.9 or 0.8 or
Yeah,
something.
it's very high. It does a lot of damage, especially when you're building that full AD. He has the Eclipse now, so that's going to be a deadly jungler coming out, especially against the Kane, who's still working on his components
I
for
know
the
a
Gore
young
Drinker.
Ion kind of juggling the wall here, while Price is around the corner hoping to punish him, but Prices doesn't really have a whole lot backing up. Forced to ult out of the pit, looking for the finishing kill. There he goes, but K-State still gets that, and Malzahar is just going to ult for the clean kill. Although Stormrazor, maybe? Nope, not really close enough, unfortunately. Really solid play by Crisis there, trying to stop K-State from this objective. Was on his own in that venture, however. Fortunately.
Yeah, it was a valiant effort, but it was right for the steal as well. I think they hit the eye and knocked it down to like 50 HP. If he was able to get that, that would have been crazy.
Oh,
But
from Lars, forcing the Zillion in return. Does proc it. Maybe he tries to, nope, just drops the Q onto the Lucian, forcing him away from the tower. That's a lot of resources down for both members, actually.
yeah, if I'm K State's bot lane right now, I am just absolutely pinging my brains out for a gank down there. But the opportunity just hasn't been there. I mean, mid lane's running around trying to keep Kane alive, who finally has his red form. So
Yeah,
maybe we'll see some good plays
yeah,
from Young Ion
yeah.
here.
Now he should be a lot stronger here. Big Wimbo taking a bit, trying to kite depth a bit. Does evade Ion long enough. However, Rosehawk is being burned down in the meantime. Halachu collects Lucian really quick, kicks him further into tower, forcing him to soak it. Will go down to the Kane W. Halachu lands the Q and manages to secure the Kane kill. And Crisis is actually bot right now. Looks like they did a little bit of a role swap.
Interesting. Yeah, that's we saw a couple of small micro misplays there. The Lee Sin kick into the Morgana was pretty bad to get her killed by the Kane, and then yeah, I think the Lucian could have killed Morgana quicker if he just engaged when he knew that Young Ion was on his way. But all for all, it was a pretty good fight. I think it ended up being 2 for 2. So that might be. I think I like to think that when you're down gold, going even in fights is probably a net positive for you. So that might be up for K State there.
Yeah, I will say I will defend the Lee Sin kick a bit there. Yeah, you do risk him going on to your ADC, but forcing him to soak those tower shots does mean a lot, I think. Although it is
Yeah,
super risky. It is an incredibly risky play.
yeah, it may have allowed him to get the kill soon after. Um, after Morgana died there. But yeah, it was definitely one of those high risk, high reward things when
Oh,
you like to see that maybe with like a first half of a Q on him.
meanwhile, Stormgator is trying to look for the endblind kill here, dropping his own ultimate, in fact, but will eat a one too many Cho'Gath Qs and forced out. Meanwhile, only Death just got a kill on Morgana. Bot Big Wimbo trying to drop the Varus ult to maybe survive this situation. He does not have. He is not a poke build, so he will not have enough with his Q. Actually, Inblind winning the 1v1 up top as well against Stormgator, forcing him out of his ultimate form. Ended up being very devastating for him.
Wow, that's a big swing there. We see a one fight top lane and bot lane for K State right at the same time, and we're dead even in gold now,
Okay,
man. That's very
Crisis is
cool.
getting
And
burned.
yeah,
He is soaking damage like crazy. He's just a sponge for this burn damage. Dalinator flashing for the kill on Akali. Akali took a little bit too long to find a spot to go in on him.
yeah, and they lane swap this willingly. Interestingly enough, I mean, I think the Akali is at the point where she's not going to do a ton of damage to Cho'Gath now,
Oh,
so
Dalachi
that's
wants this
probably
kill
why.
though.
But
He's
yeah,
gonna
you're not going
flash
to that fight.
Q, but he is still soaking damage from the Malzahar bird, and now trying to flash out ward hops, just anything to get away from this. His Q kills the minion. He does have a TP coming forward. You have to try really hard, but will not be able to dodge the Kane W to his best efforts.
Yeah, like we kind of assumed, once that Kane got his form, he's been popping off since then, man. He was like 1-4 at one point, now up to 4-6, doing a lot of good for his team as well around the map. especially in the mid and bot lanes.
Yeah, having a lot of follow up, also having that Zillion to kind of speed you up during those ganks has proven to be very powerful uh, for K State here. But to see if Ithaca's able to, they do have, even though their mid laner did die top, he is still 5-1. He has Leandries. He has a lot of burn potential, and your mid is still, or your jungle is still 4-2 as well. He's getting a lot of damage. He has finished Eclipse by now. Oh, Morgana binding, but nothing to follow up on that.
Yeah, Dasco needs to dodge some of those Morg Qs. He's getting poked out pretty hard. The Morg Q Varus Q combo is pretty potent, and he's fallen to that a couple times now already.
Oh, here we see Swain getting caught out by the Malzahar ulti, setting up a really easy kill for young Ion right there.
Wow, yeah, he barely even had time to drop his ulti and try to heal back anything there. The Kane is kind of running the map at this point.
Yeah.
He goes top, gets a kill, goes bot, gets 2 kills, goes mid, gets a kill,
Yeah.
and that's not what you want if you are Ithaca at this point.
Yeah, meanwhile, we see Price ended up falling to inblind there. Halachu is not far behind, while Kane is just tower diving in with reckless abandon.
Yeah, he was not respecting the Cho'Gath Feast Drew damage there at all.
Yeah, here we see like what you were talking about. I mean, Kane is just become such a demon after, no pun intended, after he was so weak early game, but that was the thing. Yeah, he was dying a lot, but he was getting his form really quickly, fighting this Lee Sin and this Kali a lot. Allowed him to
You're right,
get.
and Ithaca was unable to turn those 1 fights into anything meaningful at the same time. I think they got 1 dragon and a little bit of a gold lead, but we're swung well past that now for K State, so nothing for them there. I think we might see a Kane ban at the next champion select.
I guess
possibly.
we'll see how they respond to it. Although Wimbo and Hawk are going on to death here, trying to force something. Does ult after using his flash, running his flash and dash, and Wimbo will get a very easy snipe onto death there.
Yeah, you really don't want to flash, dash, blow your whole escape combo there before they use any of their CC. You really want to sit there and wait for that Varus. He has a couple Qs there on the Varus ult. You get the loud scream and the visual cue as well. So he should have kind of kited at an angle, walking, and then just waited for those cues to kind of hit those dodge buttons.
Yeah, I would guess that Deft was imagining that he had a lot more damage than he had with that Essence Reaver. You are getting your Sheen procs on it, but you're still into a Varus who is going this on hit build. So he had Vamp Scepter, he had quite a bit of sustain, and unfortunately Deft did not have enough damage to apply it. Looking here mid now, K-State's kind of set up for this Baron. They have their mid here for it. Actually, their top as well, 4 members of the team, while Ithaca is just nowhere near set up for it. It'll be a very clean dragon for K-State.
That's something we're seeing here that's weird, and we didn't see in the Wartburg games, or we did see in the Wartburg games, was Ithaca, doing a great job of securing early dragons, and here they just have not had that happen. They got 1 so far, but on this one and then the one before that, they weren't set up at all for it when it came time for the dragon to come down. So it looks like they're a little bit discombobulated here with what K-State's brought in the last 5 to 10 minutes of this game.
I think a big part of that is moving that top laner to mid and your mid laner to top. Stormgater, typically a really good at supporting the rest of his team. Having him in that top lane means that he's not going to be rotating as much. You're not going to see as many rotations towards the rest of the map. It can be difficult to set up otherwise.
That's a good point. When you put that 5-kill Swain up into the top lane, you're missing out on all that power in your team fights, and he's just kind of split pushing. And he's consolidating that power with the minions and all the gold he's getting, but it's not, translating to any sort of lead or help for his team right now.
Looks like someone bring up top actually. Halachu trying to fight in blind on that Cho'Gath. Forced to kick him away. He's a little bit too tanky for his own good. Halachu not able to really supply enough damage at the moment. Oh,
yeah, that's a full tank Cho'Gath with 2 armor items against Lethality Lee Sin's not doing anything to that. He could hit him for a good 5 minutes straight and not do any damage to him.
Oh, I was using the ultimate Adelinator. Has the E up, but decides not to take it. You do have this fat Cho'Gath on the sideline. You have to be mindful of his presence. I was kind of wondering about the Spark Gator. Got a little bit too happy with that. He used his E. I don't know if you saw it, but he used his claw right before flashing, so I didn't follow or didn't track.
Yeah, it's the the E starting position doesn't change when you flash there, and
Rosehawk.
kind of did not work out for him.
Rosehawk just becoming fish food for the Cho'Gath after trying to face check that bush.
Nom nom nom.
Great commentary.
He will happily take that. That's for sure.
Yeah, Crisis. Def getting a little aggressive here onto the Akali, who isn't Akali. Yeah, she's an assassin, but she has a lot of HP. She can eat a lot of damage if you don't have the way to shred through that HP. Inbind does try to teleport in. Not able to do a whole lot, but that bomb is gonna put Halacho pretty low. Crisis is trying to poke as much as he can. Stormgator stepping up front as well. Crisis is going to get knocked up, ulted by Kane. Silence. He goes down. Young Ion's looking for the Kane W. It's going to come up. Oh, and the cleanse on that. Lee Sin barely able to get out of the Malzalt right there.
Yeah, how did the Lee Sin cleanse the Malzalt there? That was interesting.
I think
sure.
Well, I think what might have happened is he got CC'd by either
Morgana shield.
Oh, Morgana shield's really.
It was the Morgana shield. It went away very quickly, but it stopped the CC. Yeah. When that happens, the chain stays and the damage keeps happening, but you lose the CC effect.
Really interesting interaction.
Yeah, it works the same way with kind of like Quicksilver and everything.
Mm-hmm. And Blind is rooted, but he's so tanky. He just doesn't care about this damage. Stormgator going to barely miss the claw right there. It's looking pretty much.
Yeah, that Zillion speed up helped him get away there. I think the claw might have hit him if he didn't drop it on him.
Mm-hmm. It's looking pretty heavily in K-State's favor at the moment, but Ithaca is not out of the game quite yet. They do have a very, very big Swain, and they have Varus going the on-hit build. I was kind of expecting Varus to go. I was expecting Varus to go. What was it?
Kraken Slayer.
No, I was expecting Varus to go the poke build. Given that you have Morgana, you have the Swain pull, and Lee Sin just kind of going for this burst oriented build. I kind of expected that, but it makes sense going on hit when you're into such really tanky, heavy sustain champs. It adds for some really nice assurance later.
Yeah. I think Kraken Slayer would have helped against the Cho'Gath a little more, but he needs some survivability against that Kane especially, and the Lucian. Once again, they have the Swain split pushing top lane with an objective being danced around here. Not sure about that strategy when he's the most powerful person on your team at the moment. They really need to bring that force to bear here and kind of have him. I guess the teleport's up, so maybe we'll see that happen.
It looks like he's just going to rotate with the rest of his team all over. They are a bit slow to the dragon. It is up, and looks like Young Ion and the rest of his team are on top of it. To see maybe if they're able to find some sort of entrance into this fight, like a bind or a pull. There it is. There is the hook. Kalachu going in for the dive onto the Gresco slash, forces the ult onto himself. Wimbo is looks ults in blind, and the dragon goes down. Stormgator snags it for his team. Crisis dives in, gets Mal's ulted, instantly 8. Halachu looking for any possible way to clean up, does flash, gets onto Blind, manages to kick him away and secure Zillion for his team.
Yeah, that's really interesting that Cho'Gath had his ulti and did not use it on the dragon there. It's doing more damage than a smite is right now, so really wish he would have been able to secure that, or his team does at least, but good use of the teleport there for the Swain to get in and help his team.
Yeah, it's hard to say. You have to look at it in the recall on exactly what all got used there. We're mostly just we're looking at the Varus landing the ultimate onto Cho'Gath and doing quite a bit to him, forcing him almost out of that situation. But it was a good steal, regardless, a good steal from Ithaca.
Yeah, fun fight. We have another swing. It's not necessarily enough to even up the gold difference, but it's helping out. Everything helps at this point, especially when you're behind.
Yeah, as you were saying, they needed to bring that Swain up front, and he did it, and he's did all that and more. Winning that team fight for his team and also securing the objective as well.
Yep, we finally got an Oblivion Orb coming out for Zillion, although he doesn't. Malzahar has one as well, so we have a little bit of anti-heal for that Swain. I'd like to see
cut out again here.
Executioners, though.
Def almost getting caught out, forced the flash. Also forcing the flash from Halachi as well. Although, up top here, Crisis is actually getting dove as well by Young Ion and Zillion. Trying to do something. Blind just eating Rosehawk for dinner yet again.
Supports are delicious when you're that high stack Cho'Gath, man. I think he was almost at half health.
Yeah, it was very delicious indeed. Making me a bit hungry, actually. I've yet to get to anything myself. Like I might have to ban Cho'Gath for these guys.
He's getting big. I don't know how many stacks he has, but I'd guess it's around 10 at this point.
Let's take a look here. Yeah, he's sitting at 11 stacks so far, so very hefty number. Boy. Already having 5k HP actually at this point in the game.
And like I said, they got no Kaisa, no Kog'Maw, no Vayne to really counter that health stacking. So it's going to be really tough for them to put out damage on him especially with his build. He's got the Fimbulwinter and the Thornmail. He is going to be hard to kill for Ithaca here. He's going to be a big problem.
Got here is looking for potential steal. He has a ward on it. They don't see. It's really going to come down to, can the Lee Sin live up to the Lee Sin legacy and secure the lifesteal? Oh, but no, Enbind's going to just devour Baron in one gulp. This team is around the corner, though, to back it up. Crisis managing to clean up K-State. Young Ion, the last surviving member. Although, never mind, Adelinator is actually down there.
We got Malzahar bot.
Yes.
I don't know if it is worth necessarily, but not a bad play to secure the Baron and get the split push. And the teleport gets canceled. Wow, that's catastrophic, actually.
Yeah, it's really, really big deal for them.
I will say that you think it's easy to secure objectives with the Cho'Gath Feast, but it does have a wind-up and an animation, unlike Smite, so you kind of have to know how to time that a little bit better. I think it got down to 943 when he smited, or when he feasted it, so unsmiteable at that point, so very well played by him.
Yeah, unfortunately, we will not see the return of the Lee Sin legend, the tales of old of Lee Sin Q Smite. Not while Cho'Gath in the game.
Nope. He is a fun champion to get a steal on. You queue over the wall into the Baron, steal it, and then maybe ward hop back out. Very clean. Too fun to be strong in the current game of League of Legends, unfortunately.
Well, it's all right because he's seen play here now and in this invitational, and he is Lachi's making a very strong argument, having managing to actually.
He had a solid early game, and he's working on a solid mid game here, but he is going to start falling off here soon.
Rosehawk landing the binding, throws down the exhaust strike, keep him in there longer. Does get the Zillion passive, but will that be enough? We will see Halachi going onto the backline, looking to try to finish off Drasco. Meanwhile, Stormgator is just sustaining through the two Giga Tanks here. Inblind just trying to say, trying to go on to him right here. But Wimbo does what he can. Will it be enough? We're focusing on the Cho'Gath for the time being. No. Kane will pick up Varus while the giant Cho'Gath finally falls. Crisis is here for the follow-up, but will bonk his head on that tree.
Man, it's such a long fight there, and it was kind of spread out among 3 different places. The Akali was running down the Lucian off screen while we were watching that.
Yeah.
Also, we have a textbook case
now
of
we see a dragon coming up here. The dragon might just reset. Young Ion trying to keep it pretty low here. Malzahar comes down. Crisis is going to burn for it. Stormgator is doing what he can. We see Halachi trying to smite for a little bit of HP. Does land the Q. And now is trying to kite around his team, getting onto the dragon. Halachi does not have smite for it, but will secure it. Rosehawk is here, back again. This fight has taken so long that Rosehawk has re-entered. Gets the binding. Halachi wants some more. Gets the kickoff. Oh my god. And will will pick up Lee Sin yet again. Both supports dying yet again in this incredibly long trade. Halachu trying to look for a little bit more. Just pick up the scraps that he left, but will not be able to land any
It,
more Qs.
that was an absolute bloodbath, and it was fun to watch. But you see the case of the Hextech Dragon, they're just doing a ton of damage. It was really chunking the Lee Sin and the Akali there, and allowed Young Ion and the Malzahar to get in there and kind of set up a bit of a counterattack, although it ultimately turned out not in their favor.
When I said that Halachi was making a case for Lee Sin, I was not lying. He's now 8-3 and up a considerable, or actually, yeah, up gold on the Kane. He was a little bit behind just a moment ago.
Yeah, Lee Sin's not one of those champs that's easy to farm on, so it's very impressive for him to be at 205 at this point in the game. 70 up on a Kane, who is one of those champs that's easy to farm on. So good for him on that. It's allowed him to really keep his lead despite the Kane getting a lot of kills.
Yeah, and Halachi was the mid laner for Ithaca last or yesterday during the round robin, so it's nice seeing him able to flex his other role and still be a force to be reckoned with. Oh, see him blind, just trying to set up some vision for his team, taking advantage of that 5k health bar.
Yeah, he's trying to fish for another feast stack on the Morgana there.
Oh, but he finds the Swain instead. Stormgater has a lot of HP himself, though, and not able to quite go down as quickly. Will force Inblind to back off. We do see now at this point in the game we have oh my god, excuse me, but we see two members with Leandries and two different members with Demonic Embrace. So a lot of the AP champions on this team have built a lot to get around him. And yeah, Cho'Gath has the Winter's Embrace, but he's built a lot of anti AD for this team, for this Lee Sin. So on the bright side, you know, Lee Sin's not threatening you anytime soon. But you might be needing some AP here pretty soon, because a lot of the AP threats are building to counter that HP mountain that you've been assembling this whole game.
Yeah, I bet that Kindle gem he's got in there is going towards the Spirit Visage here, maybe. Because, yeah, you're right. He does need that MR really quick between the Akali and especially the Swain right now. The Swain is, like I said, they don't have a ton of threats against that high health, but the Leandry's Demonic Embrace plus O'Reilly's combo is really going to do some damage to him, especially in those long, drawn-out fights.
Here we see K-State trying to set up, committing to a Baron. Meanwhile, Ithaca is just kind of getting their team together to top up. They don't have Crisis here, so it will come down to a steal if he wants to try to do something here. Tries to go in, but Cho'Gath is just there. Stormgater is trying to get his ult in, but K-State learned their lesson the last time, committing the Lucian ult to put an end to that Swain.
Yeah, that Cho'Gath feast came down from 1200 HP on the Baron, and there's nothing you can do about that as
Lee Sin. Halachu
so it's body blocking.
Trying to get a dive in, but it is on a Kane, able to heal a little bit before the Zillion ult procs. And anytime you buy with the Zillion ult on top of you is very valuable, so good use of it on the Kane.
Yeah, Desco's done a great job of popping those Zillion ults in good times. It's easy on that champ to jump the gun and hit it a little bit early, and then a good team will ignore that target, but he's done a pretty good job being able to actually get good use out of that ulti.
You see Inblind trying to go for another inhibitor, rather set something up for his team. Halachi is trying to do what he can, but he is fighting a very healthy Cho'Gath. Rosehawk being ulted by Kane will go down to the W. Crisis is doing what he can, but Young Ion does have Spirit Massage. Instead, just goes for the easy Zillion kill. And now here's Stormgater, hopefully to clean up where his teammate left off. Looks like they're gonna flash in onto Winbow. Winbow's forced to flash heal as well. Stormgater eating Lucian ult yet again. Malzahar dropping the ult onto Halachu, and it's gonna be the Gale Force that secures it. Young Ion is getting really low. Deft is on Stormgater's rear end here, and it will be a little too much for Stormgater to tank. Now it is Wimbo all alone here. Deft is looking to press a bit more of an advantage, but will he be able to do it? Nope. Takes the teleporter and takes the subway back home.
Wow, I really can't believe K State came out on top on that one. I thought they were in big trouble there, but once the Swain came out, but they were actually able to take that raid boss down eventually. The Swain did melt the Cho'Gath like we were talking about, and he went back and hasn't bought the MR yet, but I bet it's coming. Picking up that dragon for K State, that's going to be 3 for them, almost a dragon soul. So exciting stuff. They got triple inhib here. It's looking really good for K State right now.
Yeah, I mean that third dragon, it just means yet another win con for K State in this situation, and we're seeing that that late game Cho'Gath really come to fruition here. See, is he up? Yes, he's up. So if you look at his stacks, he's at 14 stacks, sitting at almost 7k HP now, and it's just becoming such a problem for Ithaca. They're able to burn down the Cho'Gath eventually, but the HP is just so much that it's really proving difficult for Ithaca to do it like in time before the rest of his team comes and backs him up.
Yep, and that feast is scaling with that HP as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing 1,200, 1,300 damage, true damage to champions right now with that feast, which is just crazy.
Yeah, Malzahar is doing quite a bit of damage himself here, having the mask as well. Ooh, Def tries to go over the wall, but still eats the Lee Sin Q. Oh, and it barely nicks him. He gets ulted, but he has the shield. Young Ion trying to stop Halachu's escape, but it will not be enough. He will dash to his ally to protect him. Crisis is now here to hopefully back up the team. It is now a 5v4. K-State is looking to try to find any entrance to end the game here.
Man, Def ran away from his Zillion there when he had the Lee Sin Q on him. If he went towards him, I think he could have survived that with a nice Zillion ult.
Well, instead here we see Crisis eating a bunch of CC from Inblind. They're looking to potentially get any sort of pick using the Cho'Gath's HP as much as they can. He does land a hit on Wimbo. Big Ion is looking for an engage to get inside. The shield's going to go down. He's inside the middle of the team. The Malzahar ult is on Stormgator, but he is still soaking up HP from Inbind and the rest of the team. Inbind is going to go down. Young Ion is left sitting inside Stormgator. Does land an E, but Halachu and Crisis melt him.
Endblind feasted Rosehawk again for I think the 5th time this game. That poor Morgana pick, and oh my goodness, Big Wimbo sitting there with 6.0 attack speed for a second there. That was something else. Yeah, he needs to focus up better. When that Swain came in with his ult, they had to back out. They have to learn to kite that out, or they are going to lose some fights.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate.
They did a good job trying to get the Malzahar ult down on him, but they weren't able to lock him up long enough. He got his Zanyas off, and at that point, it was just not going to happen.
Yeah, once Swain is his ult, it doesn't matter how much CC you apply to him, he is still going to be tethered to your team and soaking up. And the thing about that Cho'Gath ult is that the Cho'Gath HP bar is that it's such a boon and a curse. It's giving Stormgator this free ticket to keep ult on as long as he sees fit. So all in all, a good attempt by K-State, but an even better attempt from Ithaca to defend their base there. They did lose both Nexus towers, so it is still looking quite dire for them, especially with Baron coming up in half a minute and the 4th dragon coming up in 2 minutes, and their base just being totally exposed. It's not looking very good if K-State gets this Baron uncontested, which it might just. Redhawk is unfortunately getting caught out, going to sacrifice their life to get that little bit of vision, which is already.
Yeah, that's right. That's why Wright invented Blue Trinket right there. You don't have to do that, man. There's no reason to throw your life away for that one. When you're triple inhibbed and no turrets, man, you need everything you can get. And I mean, if they were going to fight for this Baron, they needed to do it as 5 and make it happen real quick.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to come down to Halachu. Can he possibly secure it? It does not look good with Inblind being 2-0 on this. No, it will go to the jungler, Young Ion, securing it for his team.
Malzahar to ult him outside the pit. Oh, he didn't even go for the steal there. Okay.
Yeah, so looking like a pretty clean end, but we'll see. Ithaca has come back before we saw him last game, but it's looking really dire now. It's going to be tough to match these Baron minions.
That's true. We did see quite the comeback in the last matchup against Warbert, but man, I don't know. This
Oh,
is a
Crisis getting a clean kill on Adalinator right there. Stopping the push from one of the lanes. Looks like Stormgator is looking to go in on Inblind. He is eating a bit of Lucianol, but not enough for it to matter. He's looking to go back in, try to stay on this Inblind. He does have Rylai's. He's able to slow him down, but the Cho'Gath Qs are just a little bit too much.
Yeah, we're seeing that epic Ithaca defense again, like we were just talking about.
Oh,
If you're going to 1-3-1,
not
Malzahar is
to.
not the one to send bot lane, I don't
Swainall
think.
is down, and Blind just walks right in and eats Rosehawk yet again. Crisis is in the middle of the team. Meanwhile, Young Ion is trying to fight off Winbow. The rest of the team is going on. Young Ion trying to end the game. But the team is right there. Eats up Crisis with absolute ease. Going on to Stormgator next, landing yet another W. These Ws are just relentless. And they will die before getting the third one off. Ithaca is holding the line just barely.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff there. I mean, they lost one inhib, but really that's kind of best case scenario for them in this. And you can see, yeah, the Lee Sin, Halachu is going down for that dragon. That's Dragon Soul for them if they can get it.
That's if they can get it. He does have Malzahar as a contender, and it's going to take a while for his own mid to come and support him. He's going to have to look to maybe try and fight off this Malzahar. Malzahar being forced to tank the dragon now, eating quite a bit of damage, but does get the bind off, gets the ult off on Halachu, rocks his shield. He does have sustain, but he has to get in melee range, or else he will just burn. Oh, the shield from Morgana. Rosehawk.
Nice use to the blast going there.
Oh, it's barely saving Halachu.
Oh, and the last Airy proc almost got him, but not quite. That was very close, man. But this is setting up the easy dragon for K-State, possibly.
Yeah, that's going to be fourth dragon. It's going to be Hextech Soul. That is a chain slow on them. That's going to
You don't need no jungler when you have Cho'Gath, my man.
Especially a Cho'Gath with 17 stacks. Read him and weep. We've been feeding this boy at the barn. He thick.
Yeah, I think I can see the rift shaking every time he takes a step. My God.
Good Lord.
They may just walk this down to the Nexus. They don't need turrets. They have their one inhib. I don't know.
Oh, Inblind still taking a lot right there, but Crisis is eating even more from death. The ult goes down onto Halachu, who tries to get in. Stormgator is in the team, but it doesn't matter. Young Ion melts him, and Wimbo is next on the list, unable to do a whole lot at this point. Halachu all alone against Ion and Adalinator. How will he defend this, if at all? He does have the Malzahar mean. He's just going to take it. They're just going to look for the easy end, and that is game 1 to K-State.
Wow, that's a fun game right there, man. I'm not gonna lie. That was very entertaining. Swings both ways. I was 100% certain both K-State and Ithaca were gonna win this match at one point or another. And it was just a good freaking high-powered, clown fiesta all around, which I love to see, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we saw so many plays early game, and Halachu just trying to get as much power as he can. Unfortunately, the thing with Lee Sin is that he doesn't scale that well into late game. Like once you get super late, when people have more resistances, it proves really difficult for him to do a whole lot.
Yeah, especially post durability patch. Before you could build the full lethality and you could one shot squishies, but he that's just not on the table anymore unless you're like ahead a couple levels and the gold. But if everyone's level 18 and it's just a gold lead, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, well, with that is game 1. Very interesting so far. We will move on to game 2 here very shortly. Once the teams get figured out. And yeah, we're going to take just a few minutes, really short break. We'll be right back. All right, well, welcome back everyone to game 2 of Ithaca versus K-State. Last series was very crazy. K-State managed to get a pretty solid lead after a lot of ups and downs, and close out the game after Ithaca, tried really hard with their defenses. So Oh yeah,
You
he's
know, I
good.
called it perfectly that the Cho'Gath would show up and just absolutely run the game, and that's exactly what happened. I think he finished with either 18 or 19 stacks, and he really did have a big impact on the game. So I love the pick, man. I think it's really good.
Yeah, fortunately, Ithaca didn't really have a whole lot to answer it. They had a lot of burn damage, but when the HP is just that big, it really gave K State a lot of breathing room. And young Ion was able to really kind of worm his way around the fight and get right onto that Varus every time. This game, however, I will say, we're seeing a swap. We're seeing Halachu being put mid and Stormgate are being put jungle.
Interesting choice there. I know that you said Halachu played mid yesterday in the games. Do you know how he did?
I mean, he did pretty good. He had a lot of really solid, just a lot of really solid plays and picks. He played a Nivea, I think, in one of the games, one of the last games. On that one, he had a lot of really good setups with his ult and his wall. So moving in here, we're gonna switch over to the pro draft now. A second while I send you the link as well, Ben. So far we have a Kaisa and Malzahar ban from Ithaca's side. I mean, and Cho'Gath ban as well. There you go. There you go, Ben.
I knew it.
You got your Cho'Gath ban. And yeah, it's just K-State kind of sticking to what they know. They're trying to keep that top laner from being too big of a menace, and also leaving out that Draven, just not giving their bot lane a comfort pick. So pretty standard. So what's going to be the first pick is the question.
Funny, these teams are really afraid of the Draven on Ithaca. We haven't seen it at all yet today. I think you said it got played yesterday, and it was like okay, but not like terrifying. So it's interesting that they use a ban on that.
I see the Seraphine first pick. I mean, almost guaranteed that'll be going support. However, um, whatever, that's checking. Yeah, seeing the
Yeah, I,
Seraphine, it's something that you can see going a lot of different places, but almost definitely it'll be going support in this team.
I doubt they would swap their best mechanically inclined player to mid and then put him on Seraphine. So at least I hope not.
You never know. You know, when Seraphine gets that CDR with the Leandries, it can be pretty menacing all the same.
Yeah, high skill ceiling, by the way.
It's like they're going to be pitting a Vel'Koz against the mid laner, showing their hand a little bit early on the mid pick. Getting the Zillion, which the K State support seems to really enjoy doing. So, I mean, it works out. It provides a lot of support in these 5v5s that can be have a lot of hidden power to it.
Yeah, it's cool to see the Vel'Koz. I think K State really likes the old Void champions here, so that's fun. Unfortunately, they can't get the Cho'Gath this game to like go along with it. But the Vel'Koz is cool, but it's a very risky pick.
And here you see Ithaca picking the Syndra in response to it. You know, it makes sense. You already seen what they're going to do. You have a mid laner who can play a lot of strong picks. A Syndra pick, I think, is be pretty good. Into a Vel'Koz, I think Syndra's range basically matches Vel'Koz after her little mini rework. And actually, Ithaca's taking the Kayn this time for their jungler.
Yeah, we got a classic matchup of the Vel'Koz tentacles versus the Syndra balls, and I'm excited to see who comes out on top on that one.
Yeah, have to see what the rest of the comp ends up looking like. It's not really leaning in any specific direction from just these picks alone. You see what K State ends up picking here. It looks like they're just gonna take the Viego. It was banned out. It was banned out last time, and not surprising to see it picked up here. It could be a good contender for the Kane. Viego is pretty strong skirmisher. It has a lot of potential if he gets ahead in fights. Where are they going to follow up with a ban next? Is the question.
Yeah, we got the battle of the edgy junglers here, so that's fun.
Oh, looks like no ban came through. Is that a mistake by chance? Let me see. It was an Ash ban, so that not visible, but that is an Ash ban for K State side. They're following up with a Aatrox ban. Not too surprising. Crisis seems like the type of person who would do pretty well into an Aatrox, but better not to leave it up to chance. Kind of forcing that top laner into into playing more decent, more defensive picks that Crisis might have an easier time picking apart.
Yeah, the Ash ban is interesting to me. Do you know, is there any sort of reason for that, or?
Um, it's not really like standard like an Ash Seraphine, but Ash is just a generic pretty good bot laner. I could check really quick. On their bot laner here, Big Wimbo. No, Big Wimbo does have some Ash games. It's not the most played. Obviously, I think Varus seems to be the most played, followed by like Dogma and Draven. So the Ash ban probably it was more just to prevent, uh, just to prevent their team from having a kill. It could also just be a little mistake on their part. Maybe they're just not 100% sure what to ban, you know, into
Yeah,
Ithaca.
that's fair. Ithaca did with the Caitlyn ban, so there's been some ADCs coming off. I like the MF pick for K State here. Seems like that's a pretty decent choice as far as ADCs go right now.
Yeah,
We
with
don't. Oh, we do have a Kaisa ban on the map too, so lots of ADC bans.
yeah, I mean AC is a pretty hotly contested role around this time around compared to previous seasons. They have a lot more power in the role that they used to not have. A lot of it given fact to the durability patch, allowing ADCs just have that little bit more survivability. And with games going longer, that means ADCs are more frequently hitting their power points and having the impact that the rule was intended to have. So it's not surprising seeing some emphasis being put onto them with these bans here. And we are seeing Ithaca going with the Varus pick. Like I said, the ADC likes playing Varus, so it's not a big surprise there. And Darius picked to round it out. Seeing Crisis, it'll be interesting seeing Crisis on a pick like Darius as opposed to these more flighty fighters who want to kind of dance around the team fights a lot. We're seeing him go for someone that's much more hard lined and more committed to being a bruiser.
Yeah, it seems like maybe he'll like the Darius more since he's such a solid set player. But getting countered on Darius doesn't feel good either. So we'll see what K State comes up
Yeah,
with.
let's see what they have in the pocket. Oh, it looks like it's going to be a Mordekaiser, a really safe lane bully for someone like Darius. Actually, I don't know. Have you seen much of the Darius Mordekaiser matchup? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it can go really poor for Mord really fast, actually. If you can outplay the Darius, you can obviously win it. I think Mord can basically, I mean, has the potential to 1v1 anyone. But Darius is easier to win, I think, in that matchup. So I'd say advantage goes Darius here with his just sheer amount of damage, and then easier to hit skill shots. I think it's a lot easier to dodge the Mord Q than to dodge the Varus Q, or sorry, the Darius Q. It'll be fun to see since both junglers are kind of playing the more scaling varieties. So maybe won't see a ton of jungle presence in top lane here. So we'll get to see a pure kind of bruiser fight.
I won't be so sure of that. I'm kind of expecting Kane to maybe put a bit more emphasis on top lane. You know, you have a Darius who's going to put a lot of pressure in that lane no matter what. But you are Kane, and your two targets for getting your red form is Mordekaiser and Viego. So I imagine what Ithaca kind of wants here is maybe trying to pull a lot of pressure topside. Like maybe you force a 2v2, force Viego to respond to Darius in some way, and then try to get a gank going that way. Because that would mean very fast red form for Kane. So I
Yeah,
imagine,
that's a good point from the jungle perspective. I imagine it's hard for Viego to put a lot of damage onto Darius too.
yeah, possibly. I mean, he does have the stun, and Viego does just in general kind of shreds a lot more than compared to other junglers. But yeah, I think a big part of K State, just from what I can see, is just having really strong link. Like Vel'Koz, he can get a lot of poke off in lane. Syndra, it's kind of iffy. I feel like Syndra, especially right now, might have the range to contend with that. So we're, I think what we're looking at here is a lot of lane matchups that are very very up in the air. There's not really a clear winner or win con for either one. Uh, and on Ithaca's side, I think a big focus is going to be Kane putting emphasis on top lane. I think a big thing to look for is how well can the jungler play with the top, and can they use their communication and team play to overcome this Mordekaiser and even this Viego.
Yeah, this will be interesting. I think Ithaca actually has a better team fight comp here. K State does have the power of the Vel'Koz and MF combo, but they don't have a ton of CC on their team to lock those champions down into those ultis. So it'll be interesting to see how they work that into their game plan here. Obviously, Vel'Koz and MF all into like a Dragon or Baron pit is very deadly no matter what. So the potential is there to win the team fights. But I think with Seraphine and Varus all together, plus Darius and Kane running in, and then just the Syndra pure AOE damage, Ithaca has a very very strong comp here, and may have quote unquote, won the champion select just based on team comps, in my opinion, of course.
I mean, they have a very strong chance here. I'm a bit worried for K State because the issue is that yeah, you have these like really team fight winning fight ultimates with Vel'Koz and Misfortune. But then you have these really selfish ults. Like yeah, you have Viego who can uh, kind of disrupt a lot, which will be useful later in the game. But then you have Mordekaiser who just ults and takes people out of target for any sort of stuff they want to do. So I'm a bit worried maybe their team fight isn't as cohesive as Ithaca's, but it could still work out in their favor. It just really depends.
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the lane phase and how they do. I mean, if they come into the team fight phase at dead even, then Ithaca definitely has that matchup dependent advantage though. There's no clear goals for K State, I don't think, just purely based on the team comp. They don't have a great game plan for victory here.
With that, we're gonna take about 2 minutes, and then we're gonna get into game two. I will unmute myself. I promise. I'll I'll try to remember that. But we'll be right back after a couple of minutes. All right, hello everyone. Welcome back. We're getting right into game two. My co-host is away for the moment, but do not worry, he will be back very shortly. In the meantime, you have me to spectate this early game.
I have returned from my slumber.
There we are.
We're right into the action.
Oh yeah, just seeing a pretty simple 5-point from Ithaca here, although Alachi was getting a bit of poke from the mid there. Early enough in the game, it won't matter too much.
This is a nice little zoning bomb from Zillion there. He stopped his escape route, or else he was going to eat the bomb, and then Vel'Koz was able to land the Q.
Yeah, it was a very, very good early play from K-State, we'll say. Going into this game, I know in a lot of these matches today and yesterday, it feels like we kind of focus on top lane a lot since we have people who really like fighting in the top lane. It seems like, I guess that's where the trades seem to be the easiest to get. And imagine this
when
game.
You get a matchup like Darius Mordekaiser, it just kind of happens naturally, I think.
Yeah, I just like in general, like we've seen a lot of it, a lot of focus top lane, a lot of fights top lane, a lot. And I feel like a broken record, just being like, oh, we're gonna be looking at top lane a lot this game. But I mean,
it's true though, especially with the things you brought up about Kane. He kind of has to focus that top lane if he wants to get that form anytime soon. It's kind of terrible if you get your blue form and you have to wait an extra 5 minutes.
Mm.
It feels bad.
As we saw in game one, or that was game two, I think. This is game two. I'm losing my mind, but in the last game, young Ion took that Kane pick, and even though he did really bad in the early game, oh look, actually we already see a gank from Stormgater, level 2 gank on the inbind here. He is just trying to walk it out, He is burning, however. Flash will ultimately... Oh, actually, Stormgator is able to get the kill and get out. What is this? Oh, is
Wow,
it going to
that's
be
crazy that
unpunished?
the
Oh, he
turret
sees
didn't
it.
kill him
Oh, the
there.
flash from Youngin.
Very fortunate for him.
Young Ion will get the kill secure, but that is forcing a lot from K-State side already.
Yeah, very good gank. Went very deep, but it paid off. I mean, it's 1-for-1, but they get first blood, and the Kane form stacks as well. So very good for them there.
I might be looking to maybe get... We're looking for Scuttlecrap here, or possibly might rotate top as well.
Darius still has flash too, so I think lane matchup goes towards Darius here for the next couple minutes at least.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's taking it back now, just taking his advantage and doing well with it, forcing Viego to just go back to his lane and farm here. Looks like,
yeah, you got to spend that extra gold or it doesn't matter.
Lachu kind of struggling just a bit to match this poke from the Vel'Koz. Is doing a pretty good job at poking him down. On the other end, though, you have Windbow and Rosehawk being pretty good with the Seraphine.
Yeah, Dallinter, with that geometry there, looping those Qs around mini, and it's always fun to see a Vel'Koz that is played competently. They can really do some cool stuff with the Q and the way those angles work.
We've seen Vel'Koz ever since his release. I remember we have a friend of ours who is quite a fan of his noodleness. Okay, a little bit of trading up top. Prices would be the one losing that. Oh, Rosehawk trying to go in a bit on Jasko there, forces the exhaust and forces the flash in return. That will just be an expenditure of some resources bot lane. I guess, oh, looks like Crisis is taking the hook next seat in front of Inblind here. Gets the hook off, trying to Q him as much as he can. They're both going to be fairly low. Crisis eating another Q. If he eats one more Q, he'll be in trouble. Inblind just
yeah, it's a super nuanced matchup, actually. The damage is very close, and both are very similar champions, you know, so... it's hard to tell, even when you're in the middle of the matchup, who wins any particular fight. So you see them both
really going to miss here. He's looking to hook off on both of them. Stormgear's going to miss the W. That's going to be a lot of damage that's missing now in this fight. Stormgear should have Q up in just a second. And Young Ion is going to look to walk out of this one. Great hook from Crisis, managing to hit both top and jungle with that.
Yeah, and Blind missing that Mordekaiser Q there was not good, and let that Darius just kind of walk it out and then turn around and get his health back with the Q.
You know, Stormgator's
big for Ithaca and Stormgator there, though.
Yeah, that's a lot of form, and you get some kills off of it. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that for a Kane player.
No, it does not. And yeah, so like as Ithaca had a little rough time early game last game, we're seeing K-State do the same here, where I think the Kane is actually working out a little bit better for Ithaca than it did for K-State, early game at least, but we'll see if they can turn that lead into something meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, the Viego doesn't quite have the same burst potential that a Lee Sin has, so it makes sense that Kane isn't going to have such a rough time comparatively. And plus, we saw, you know, Halachi on the Lee Sin did get that early kill lead thanks to the invade, so having that little bit of extra gold at the very start does make the matchup a lot harder, especially for a Kane that wants to be looking for trades with the melee jungler.
Yeah, now we got a Mordekaiser that's died twice, doesn't have a kill to show for it. He's doing okay in CS, but it can be tough on the mental when you're getting camped like that.
Yeah, but I trust...
Something we've seen from Ithaca so far is they like those early dragons, so we'll see if they want to come down here and do something bot and play around that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we do see the jungler Stormgator here trying to secure the Scuttlecrab. Trying to block it with his body to prevent Young Ion from getting close to it. Ooh, maybe something happening bot here, maybe, you know, just a little bit of poking and trading. And both junglers are going to retreat for the time being. Might be seeing return of the lane gank, something we saw a lot in the semis.
That's
from
true.
Whiteberg.
Yeah. They did. I think it was. It was the other team's jungler
It was
that just
White.
loved the lane
Yeah,
gank. I
it
think.
was Whiteberg. I'm blanking on the name now, obviously, since I'm retired. Stormgater looking for an engage, manages to get onto Drasko, slows him barely, and big Wimbo landing the big snipe. Only Deft is looking to be left on the licks, but instead it's actually the Kane who goes down. Wimbo is trying to supply the damage, but he's just a little bit too weak this early into the game, and Rosehawk will not have the auto attack damage to secure the misfortune.
Wow, that was close. Cool, fun fight in the bot lane there. You see the the reset happening in real time there was a big boon for them, and then I can't believe the misfortune was able to get out of that. I think the cleanse was kind of a bad pick, to be honest. Against, I understand the Seraphine and Varus CC, but that's not till level 6. I mean, early game, I think you benefit more from heal, but I'm no expert. What do you think, Nick?
I mean, sorry, I zoned out because I was typing a message. I'm a Stormgater here is trying to look for his steal, but ends up losing out on it. Halachu trying to get a little stun off, but that's all he can really do here. Yeah, I missed out. I was trying to get you to. I started streaming in the Discord chat if you want to watch that, so maybe you can keep up a little bit.
Yeah, I see it. It'd be a little more real time, so that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I'm on it now.
Yeah, I mean, seems like K-State's managed to turn things around on Ithaca here. Ithaca had a really strong, very early game, but now things have kind of gone the other way. It seems like them getting that dragon, them getting that play bot lane, and Stormgater end up losing his life in a lot of these trades. Although that doesn't mean that as we saw, Kane dying early doesn't really mean that much. Oh,
That's
Rosehawk.
true, and we are seeing.
Oh, Rosehawk dropping the ultimate. Big Wimbo responding with his own ult. Zillion ult is also going to go down. Let's see if maybe they're able to pick any more, but Zillion does have a speed boost, and Make It Rain is going to slow them down. Drasko is just going to reset this lane.
Yeah, pretty well played by them. I think they kind of needed to just wait the Zillion out there and try to kill him. He had the exhaust still, though, so.
Yeah, Halachu is getting good movement from Halachu, managing to dodge. Stormgater is on Young Ion, trying to change targets maybe for a Dalinator, but he does have the knockup, and Zillion is here for backup. So good rotation from Halachu, dodging that gank. However, they were not able to secure any kills. It's still a little bit too early for that Cinder ult to be doing the damage it normally does.
Yeah, we're seeing this Kane play where he excels, and that's these small skirmishes where he can get resets. If they had managed to get a kill there, they easily could have turned it into 2, but luckily they backed off right on time.
Gator, Halachu eating that Vel'Koz Q is going to spell his doom from the Vel'Koz Death Laser. Very good play from the Dalinator.
Noodle Boy coming out with the geometry, setting it up. Very cool to see. You love the Death Laser. It's such a cool, iconic ability, and then I love the monsters. Lore, like the look and the design of the monster champions too. So it's fun to see.
Yeah, always nice seeing really interesting champions with really unique silhouettes like that, especially given the recent event lore stuff with Belveth as well is really nice to see in game. Returning to the game though, actually we take a look at the gold difference here. We see K6 managed to accrue a pretty good 1k lead so far, and part of that is due to bot lane just becoming such a force of nature after that early gank. Up 3 kills now. Previously, before that gank, it was pretty even, but now the misfortune is slowly becoming a bigger threat, already finishing that Kraken Slayer.
Yeah, Ithaca's like sole thing that they can play around right now is top lane, so they need to find a way to do that. It looks like they're doing that right now as we speak.
Yeah, Young Ion's looking to maybe get this Herald here. Christ is trying to return the lane, but it looks like he's sticking around. They're waiting. They're watching. Maybe try to get potential steal, but maybe Stormgater decides he doesn't want it. He does have his red form, so no more need for unnecessary fights. Meanwhile, Big Wimbo securing a snipe on the Misfortune. Drasko slaps, just has to walk away from that. Good play from
Yeah,
bot
that's
lane
really
there.
unfortunate there for K State. The MF dies with Flash and Cleanse up, and the Zillion ult still up. So really, really unfortunate there for them.
Now, meanwhile, Stormgazer's getting a good gank off. Good stun from Halachu. The King ult comes down, but he's going to ult in return. Oh, Halachu is eating the minions. Can Stormgazer stop it? Yes, barely. Getting the aggro from the minions. Great
Wow,
gank.
that was so close, man. The laser melted him from full health too, and the cannon minion. I thought it was going to get one more blast off, but it ended up not happening.
Yeah, that's the power of AP items nowadays. That Luden's Echo, providing a lot of crazy burst damage, even on something as long as a tether. Oh, looks like Crisis is getting ulted by Mordekaiser. Ooh, the flash from him. Crisis is so low HP, he can't really do a whole lot against Inblind in this situation.
Endblind hit him with a fat Q flash, which is really cool. It gives you very little time to react if you don't see it coming.
Very strong play from Inblind in that situation. Very nice seeing him be able to stand up to Crisis, who had such a uncontested lane in the last series.
Yeah, it's pretty smart of him to kind of delay the Rift Maker there to pull out the Bramble Vest.
Oh,
think it really paid
Stormgator
off
landing the
in
knockup.
that
Big
fight, 'cause he did
Wimbo
take a lot of
gets the ult, but
damage.
forces the cleanse from Deft here. The team are all kind of grouped up here, but does drop the exhaust onto Draco. Will get stunned by the bombs.
K-State's bot lane is trying to play really aggressive, and you can't really do that with the Zillion. He doesn't have an ultimate that allows for that. They have to let Ithaca come towards them and then gank and turn that into a fight, because running at the Seraphine and the Varus, they're just going to peel and run away.
I mean, they have a lot of tools for doing it, but like you were saying, Zillion or Seraphine is a very strong champion. Crisis here is trying to get into a fight with Inblind up top, but he is feeling really powerful. He does still have the bonus stats from the ultimate. And Crisis, getting a little bit of healing, gets the ult off, dunks on him.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the ult from Deft tears up Seraphine. And meanwhile, mid as well, Stormgator going on the ult onto Young Ion just melts him. And the dragon will go to Ithaca. Well, losing Kane to Abominator. Halachu doing everything to dodge around and bob and weave, but he just has nowhere to go. He is going to get... Oh, his flash comes up just in time. And the following flash from Abominator. Oh, barely missing. Halachu. Entering Ultra Instinct mode. Yeah, that was just...
barely keep up with all the fighting going on.
Please. No, I can only talk for so long.
This is some like LPL level Chinese fighting going on, and it's crazy. But I mean, you love to see it. I can't believe the Darius was able to win that 1v1 up top. First off, the Mord has so much armor, but that's just the power of the true damage ultimate. It doesn't matter if he gets those stacks and gets them low enough. It's game over no matter what. Which is just crazy. And then I can't even begin to speak on that dragon fight. I think too many things happened at once for me to even comprehend it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Deft dropping the Misfortune ultimate, just really shredding Seraphine, just showing how strong. It's like, yeah, it can be hard to be aggressive, but when you have a Misfortune who's so far ahead, she does have the capacity to just walk over lanes. That's what makes her such a good pick right now. Actually, we see top lane here. They're dropping the Herald, trying to secure this dragon. Crisis is not really able to do very much.
Yeah, he's kind of just locked out right now. And I know the Seraphine can kind of almost instantly cancel that MF ult, but it seems like when he's that fed, it does enough damage in just the 2 or 3 seconds it takes for the windup that it doesn't even matter.
Stormgazer is looking for maybe a dive here. They do have Syndra as well. He is going in, gets the ult off onto Drasko. Zillion is not able to ult in response. He's going to soak power for just a little bit longer. And Syndra will pick up another kill. Very clean tower dive from the bot lane.
That's just good macro for Ithaca there. They see the Rift Herald get dropped top and Viego up there and instantly respond with the 4-man bot. Very smart play, and then unfortunate on Zillion dying with his ulti up. I know you hate to use it on yourself.
Crisis is trying to 1v1 Young Ion in their own jungle, but will not be able to compete.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Viego can 1v1 the Darius. That's very interesting to me. I would not have guessed that.
Halachu, he's playing really risky. Can he get the last hit off? He will not be able to have it off. He had the ultimate, but just could not get in range to finish the job.
Man, Ithaca really needs to double down on this strategic macro play because it seems like pound for pound they're getting beat up right now, especially in the mid and bot lane. So they need to
Oh,
consolidate their wins, especially in the top, and
so
kind of make that. Yeah, there's another
unfortunate. They
one.
keep
See,
trying to contest this Vel'Koz, but Vel'Koz, yeah, sure, he's really squishy and he's a little bit fragile, but if you get hit by any of his abilities, you're slowed, you're knocked up, you're stunned, you're just getting torn through because that Luden's will hurt. It will sting really hard, and he has a 6 stack Dark Seal ring now, and you don't want that getting any higher.
yeah, Vel'Koz is one of those champions where the burst damage is huge, but also he has that sustained from his true damage passive, and the laser especially. Like he can do a ton of damage to you in one hit, but also he will take an elongated fight and just dish it out. So it's tough to play around that.
Ithaca is not respecting it. Christ is going for another 1v1 on Inblind. Inblind
We
gets
see
the
the
alt.
top laners as soon as they show
Yeah,
up at
as
top,
soon as they
fight
show
each
up.
other again.
But Crisis just can't touch Inblind anymore. He has so much armor. It's in the healing from Riftmakers. It's a little bit too much. He's trying to get a little last minute healing, but won't matter. Meanwhile, Stormgater on the other end, diving, Def looking for the kill. Can he land the last W? He can. Walks away from the tower with a freebie.
Yeah, at this point, once Darius gets put in the Shadow Realm, he is dead meat, and there is no coming back from that. Mordekaiser's just been able to pick up a lead thanks to the jungle play, especially, and then some choice 1v1 plays that he's done. So just that's the aspect of the matchup here is Mordekaiser's winning right now, and there's nothing he can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Darius versus Mordekaiser. It's really just whoever has better stats. Surfing dropping an ultimate here, but he doesn't really have any team to set up here. Vars is actually going to get caught out thanks to the Zillion bomb, but Stormgater is around the corner. Gets stunned by Young Ion. Gets knocked up. Can he get into his ultimate in time? He does drop the Gore Drinker, but it won't be enough. The revival on Inblind. Crisis is looking for a potential kill, but the ult... Ooh, the bleed will be what does it. Yep, there's Misfortune dropping the ultimate, but doesn't pick up anyone. Lachu is looking very low. Even just a little bit of damage from that Vel'Koz can spell the end for anyone. They have to be very careful here.
Man, that was a great stun by the Syndra to stop the MF almost instantly. That would have shredded at least 2 people. I don't know if he knew he was there and predicted it that quickly, or if he was going for the stun already, but very well done to stop that almost before it even got started.
And I think with your Darius walking into the enemy team like that, you're running to set up a stun no matter what. So it's more just a happenstance that Def dropped the ultimate and got a little too giddy a little too early. And here we see K-State going for the Mountain Drake here. And Ithaca is moving, but they're going to be a little too slow on Pierre. All right,
well, not able to get there in time. They couldn't kind of regroup after that big fight and run straight to the objective.
Yeah, I mean, that... Oh, a flash from Stormgater Q onto Def. Def actually cleanses a little too early and gets knocked up anyway.
The knockup.
Price is now taking topside. And now we're seeing the gold even
That's the power of that game, man.
Oh, Stormgater looking to fight Young Ion. Trying to put the power of Kane to the test here. Let's try to E out. Young Ion missing the ultimate. Does get stunned by Halachu. Halachu is waiting for the Zillion ult, but it's just going to stay on a little too long. Won't be able to commit any more resources to that. Very smart on Halachu to hold on to the ultimate, not commit anything more. Oh, but does get that off and drops the bombs. But he's just going to ult in response and kill Wimbo.
The laser is so devastating right now. I think that's just got to be the MVP of this game so far. And he dropped almost 3 people there. He was only a couple hundred HP from killing 3 people.
Yeah, that was very on the line right there. Halachu was looking for a kill, but ended up getting their ADC killed in return. Oh, Crisis getting hooked here. The rest of the members of K-State are baring their fangs. They want to pick up this kill, and it will go to Deft. The Misfortune now 6-4. With that collector, he's looking very threatening. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely setting up for it, it seems like.
Yep, there they are.
It just seems like a really easy Baron for K-State. I can't imagine Ithaca really doing a whole lot to counterbalance this. Losing Crisis like that early, it makes it really hard to get any sort of footing. And we see the Ithaca's defenses are kind of crumbling right now. They have a lot. Oh, actually, Halacha landing the stun onto Deft does pick up the kill. He's still his ultimate. A Stormgator managing to get Zillion as well. Halachi's surviving the death run for so long. Servant will not extend, barely. Oh, that's so sad. Wimbo is still just trying his best to tear up Inblind here, who's still just so tanky. Almost a mere visage of the Cho'Gath from last game, but will ultimately get hooked and die. A Balantor, the only one left to fend off any sort of siege that Ithaca wants.
You had some great target selection there from Ithaca because they instantly popped that MF, and then the Zillion fell without using his ult again shortly thereafter. So well done by them to go in there and take out those high priority targets.
Oh, the Darius is just gonna melt.
Another.
just like butter in the microwave.
Yeah, he threw that butter in the microwave for like 45 seconds. It's bubbling and bubbling, and before you know it, you can't stand the heat anymore. You got to get out of the kitchen.
Oh, there's nowhere left to run for Crisis. That's for sure. He is left in the kitchen.
Yeah, K-State has those that Mordekaiser and that Viego that can really stretch fights out, but if your damage goes down before that happens, it doesn't really matter. They can sit there and try to fight all day, and they're not going to do enough damage to take down the whole team of Ithaca.
Yeah, very good turnaround from Ithaca. Just they didn't get the Baron, but they did manage to get Baron off of almost all of the team except Adalanter, which is honestly the scariest player for K-State this time around.
Yeah, he's doing that I-beam, man, and they don't want any of that right now. So they definitely want to play around that as best they can. Mordekaiser would be a close second for scariest champs at the moment, too. Yeah, he doesn't have a ton of kills, but he is putting out a lot of damage.
Oh, Crisis is looking
to maybe
get collapse on. He's got 4 of the members here. Halachi mitches the stun, but Inblind is forced into the Mordekaiser ultimate. Crisis, forced to flash out, but Inblind is waiting around the corner. The team, luckily, is able to dish out enough damage to save Crisis.
Actually, pretty smart play by K-State. They sent that Baron Vel'Koz down bot to do some split pushing while Mord was stalling there. So I think they're going to actually get a turret out of it.
Yeah, they're definitely a turret and potentially a dragon. Dragon is up in 30 seconds here. K-State does have the advantage at the moment. However, Halachi does teleport in here. Ooh, early Vel'Koz ulti and the stun on Halachi drops the ultimate, forcing the ultimate out. Misfortune ulting in return, but gets knocked up and deleted by the Vel'Koz. But Seraphine will also go down as a return call. They're still looking for more. Stormgator trying to find a way in. Crisis is walking up. Dalanter. However, Crisis will get melted by Young Ion.
Wow.
They're seeing a TP in. Young Ion now on Darius, but the Inblind with the movement speed on that teleport, and Zillion was just so crazy good. Ended up turning it around on Ithaca here. Oh, the damage. Stormgator wants to get Young Ion here and does find the kill. Can he get Daskill? Halachi jumps in the middle of Inblind to support his jungle. Will not find the stun on Adalanter. Can Stormgator even catch up? That's the question, but that pull is just so devastating. It's making it really hard. And Dalanter just drops the ultimate just to be doubly sure that the Kayn dies.
Wow, what an elongated fight that was. That was crazy. I will say, great Zillion ult there when Vel'Koz got caught by the Syndra stun into the ult combo. Zillion was able to walk back and drop the ulti right before it killed him. Ended up saving the fight there, as you saw at the end.
Yeah, I mean, without that, having a Dalanter go down like that would have been really devastating for K-State. It's easy to underestimate just how quickly Syndra can burst a target. So being able to read that situation that quickly is big props to Dasko for that one.
Yeah, I agree. That was really well played by him. And you saw the Viego burst there on the Darius was crazy. I think he was 3/4 health, and Viego, once he hit the stun, just popped him and instantly started resetting.
Yeah, Christ is having a really hard time frontlining for his team here. K-State just has a lot with the Divine Sunder, with the Vel'Koz True Damage, and the Kraken from Misfortune. Christ is having a really hard time. He just doesn't really have the movement speed or the shielding that he had on a lot of the other champions that he played earlier today. And it's proving that Darius is just having a hard time standing up to scrutiny.
That's a good point. If he had set here, he would have definitely gone in and caused some real damage to the team there. The Darius just doesn't have that capability. He has a little bit more damage, but just not quite the amount of CC and you know just straight mobility that Set has.
Yeah, that's why I was a bit surprised by the Darius pick. I mean, it can be really strong if you get ahead in the lane, but it just wasn't really able to ever do that. But Kane did help a lot in the early game, but once Kane got his red form, he kind of it became less of a he kind of needed to put his resources in other parts of the map with how big Misfortune ended up getting.
Yeah, we're seeing a couple things that are adding to that as well. He went teleport instead of Ghost to try to help the team out, which is understandable. But Ghost on Darius, in my opinion, is pretty much required to just be able to get into fights like that. Also, you had the Seraphine Whitley Andrews instead of a Shirelia's or something similar. If she had a Shirelia's that could speed him up, I think that would have helped him out a lot as well.
Yeah, I understand wanting to have some sort of HP shred for someone like the Mordekaiser, but it feels like that's really the only target that you're wanting to shred. Given how much Viego kind of likes his AD items, he doesn't really get that much HP. So probably something more that supports the team might have been a little bit more better, especially with a Darius. Like you want to try to help him get into the fray of the team, and this makes that really hard. Halachu beating the Vel'Koz Q, taking half his HP. Seraphine drops the ult, but it's not going to find its mark. Misfortune trying to ult in. Stormgater getting to the middle of the team. Inblind eating the exhaust, but Kane will go down. Inblind is in the front, but will not find any more with the hook. Ithaca just forced to give up their support, their jungle,
Yeah,
and
great
their
catch there.
mid.
They K State got Ithaca into a choke point there, and they really made it pay off with the Mordekaiser E, pulling it back like 3 or 4 people, and then the big catch on the Syndra there.
Yeah, Halachi's had a really good job with a lot of bobbing and weaving and dodging skills, but when you're into all five members like that, there's only so much you can dodge before something eventually lands on you. And for someone like Halachi who's doing a lot of the picks for the team, it's proving to be pretty. It ended up being really devastating and costing them Baron.
Yeah, and again, you don't want to fight in those choke points against the Vel'Koz either. He just absolutely, he's 10-1 now. He's got 3 items and a fully stacked Magi's. That is not what you want to do. You got to spread those fights out, make them kite back or kite back yourself. Bait out that laser, especially. Like you have to fight around it at this point. That's the only thing you can do to win.
Yeah, I think a big part is eventually really it's on Ithaca kind of getting picks. They have Syndra does have a lot of damage and has a really long range stun, but Halachu is kind of opting to get really close to K-State in a lot of these engagements, which uh, well, yeah, that you are good enough to dodge a lot of those skills, granted, but at the same time it puts you in a lot of danger that you don't necessarily need to be in.
Yeah, he's trying to make a lot happen, unfortunately, which is causing him to get caught a couple times here. It definitely feels like he understands his team's a little bit behind, and he's trying to make something happen. And unfortunately, it's just not right now.
See, maybe the but I see hopefully Big Wimbo, having finished Mana Mune will be able to supply a bit more damage as well. Already doing quite a bit in a lot of these early team fights, managing the snipe members, but just not quite. Well, basically, what I'm getting at is I'd like to see Thaka maybe focus more on individual picks and using the Varus Q to sort of collect on those.
Yeah, they have such a great pick comp that they kind of pulled together here, and they have not been
Oh,
utilizing that.
Price is getting the stun off, but is going to get ulted by Inblind. He has not won any of these engagements so far. It is ultimately going to, unfortunately, be baited by that. Oluwachu is here to hopefully collect on him. Flash alts just to secure the kill. Stormgater getting into the middle of K-State doing Dragon, but it will be too CC'd to really contest it.
Yeah, man. Once Mordekaiser gets that Rylai's, you cannot 1v1 him with a melee champion. It's just not going to happen. Darius can't.
Oh, a young Ion is getting on to trying to tower dive. Window here will be eating a lot of tower shots, but it will not matter. His team's here to back him up. But they do
Yeah,
trade
kind of
inhibitor.
a overly aggressive play there, but he opened up a big lane for his team to take that mid inhibitor. So I think it was worth it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, very
We
aggressive,
got
but
Darius
did
coming up here in
force.
5 seconds.
Yeah, it did force Ithaca to sort of devote a lot of resources to stop that push. Viego has managed to survive quite a few hits under that tower, and even procced his Hexdrinker, I believe.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't bad. As a whole, you looking at it holistically, when they got that mid inhib, it's so important. It's like the most important lane, the most important structure there. But oh, here we go. Uh,
A lot else going on right
Kane
now.
opting to to go farm instead. It's probably smart.
And here, looking at the
Yeah, the
items, we
story.
see.
This game has just been a story of K-State forcing Ithaca into weird choke points and then burning them down with that laser. And if they can't get around that, I mean, if they keep just mashing their head into that wall, it's not going to work out for them.
Oh, Deft is being aggressive, trying to get that blue buff. Best secured in the end. Stormgator not really able to catch up. Meanwhile, bot lane, Big Wimbo does get an ult off onto a Delanter, but the Zillion stun will just be too threatening. Yeah, here
That
was
was a nice
just
stun by Zillion, put a lot of damage out.
this whole game has just been the surprise factor of the Vel'Koz pick, being able to just melt picks in so many situations. Palacio does get a stun off, but it is onto the front line. It will not be enough to start anything. Now it looks like
Yeah.
a 5v4 situation.
That Zillion speed boost makes it really hard to pick the Mordekaiser when he's around because he just gets the speed boost and walks it out. He's got enough health and sustain to just not even care about that kind of thing.
Oh, another ult from Varus. That ult cooldown is getting really low with all the CR items. Seraphine does drop the ultimate, picks up the Zillion, and that the ult still goes on to protect the Vel'Koz. Misfortune on the side here. Stormrazor is trying to live as long as he can, but Inblind is in the back line by the team. Wimbo finally able to collect. Lachu lives just long enough. But now the rest of K-State is here. The ult gets dropped, almost doing a big chunk of Wimbo already. Young Ion onto Halachu. He's getting shredded by Deft. Cleanses, but still gets picked up by Varus anyway. Young Ion going for the Spirit, gets the Syndra. And now there's only 2 members of Ithaca here to defend the base.
And I can feel the pain of that Mordekaiser from here. He's 4v1 for like 6 seconds, and his team is just tied up with that Darius the whole time and not able to come in and save him. But it does end up very positive for them as the Varus whiffs his ulti there. Unfortunately, it goes through the inhib.
Yeah, they do lose yet another inhibitor. Ithaca kind of reliving the memories of the past game. They're in this state where they're just constantly bleeding resources. Like, yeah, they're finally starting to win these fights, but it's just a little too late as the resources just start getting taken for all it's worth.
Yeah, they definitely had the right idea there, getting on the Vel'Koz early, but unfortunately, between the Zillion ult and he had his flash and barrier, he was able to just kind of barely squeak out of there as they CC'd the Darius down and were able to kill him.
Yeah, but to see, looking at the objectives, actually, we have Baron, it's up now, but there's also Elder Dragon, since K-State does have the Mounted Soul.
That's always a tough one for me, is deciding which one is better. I think, Elder Dragon's probably better for the ending a game quickly, because of that insane damage buff and then the execute. However, Baron is obviously, it brings you a lot of gold and a lot of buffs to your team as a whole, and then your minions and everything. So it's tough to decide when you have to choose between the two.
Looks like K-State will not have that much of a choice after all, or not have to choose, given Inblind is causing so much pressure bot lane that K-State's going to get a pretty free Baron here. Ithaca wants to contend, but you have a Mordekaiser in the bot lane, seeing multiple TPs from Darius and Syndra, maybe trying to force something. He's just going to get ulted by the Misfortune and just shredded. Ithaca is falling apart at this at this point. The pressure from Mordekaiser just being a little bit too strong. Lachu is trying to return and taking the long walk back to base.
Yeah, they hit that teleport, but it was obviously just too little, too late. They it felt like they had to do something, and they tried, but they're so far behind at this point, and with the Mordekaiser down there wreaking havoc, it's really tough to get back into the game at this point, especially with how much damage that K State just does to that Baron with the Viego and the Vel'Koz true damage and the misfortune as well.
It's not looking too good for Ithaca in this situation. The Barons is bearing down on here. Bot lane will be not that far behind. Mordekaiser's trying to get top pushing as well. Ithaca's in quite the bind now. We'll have to see. Are they able to do much about it? They do still have Syndra, who is 8-6, and Varus, who is 8-4. So they have their outs. They have pretty powerful carries. It just really comes down to, are they going to be able to shred that Mordekaiser fast enough when he gets into the middle of the team? Oh, looks like K-State's going for the Elder Dragon. Stormgator is actually not that far behind, but he's getting poked out so much by the Vel'Koz and slowed down by the Zillion. Oh, and he's just barely not able to get over there. He will fall to the Elder Dragon. His team is here to maybe try to stop some sort of aggression. Halachu, but they both golden pose to survive the damage, but will it be enough? Halachu just instantly
dies. It was
dies.
a great Zillion ult, but also a great Zhonya's at the same time, so it kind of canceled it out.
Yeah, it's just not looking good. Endblind is looking to get the flash Q one last time. Will devour the Varus. Crisis just doesn't have enough stats. He is going to go down next, and it is the death throes for Ithaca. K-State winning game 2, taking a clean 2-game win for the Emporia Invitational.
Yeah, they did a great job there, just methodically taking down every objective they needed, right in order, and then straight into the victory there. You can't draw it up any better than that. Once they had that lead and they knew that they could win those fights, they just took it and they ran with it, and it was a beautiful display there.
Yeah, very strong, a very strong case for that Vel'Koz mid. I mean, it was so much damage, especially early. You would expect Vel'Koz to maybe need a couple of items before he starts doing that much damage, but even early game, once he got a couple of hits off, even on Halachu, he dropped the ultimate and would just turn Halachu into a melted mess.
Yeah, Adelinter's got me wanting to queue up in solo queue and take the Vel'Koz into the mid lane here. I'm a little bit inspired by that. Yeah, he would get ganked and it would look terrible. He would just turn around and drop the death laser and just melt that Syndra. The poor Syndra would just go down. Yeah. It was very, very cool to see.
Yeah, the rest of the team also very, very strong playing. Despite a lot of pressure on Inblind very early with Stormgator. Stormgator looking very strong with those early ganks on Kayn. It's what you want to see as a Kayn. You're so weak early. If you can get a lead as pre-formed Kayn, you can position that pretty well later into the game. But unfortunately, Crisis wasn't able to maintain that, and young Ion was actually able to keep his top back in the game. So very strong playing all around. A very good show from Ithaca as well. Happy to see them here again after they competed last semester. To see them take second place. So thank you to all the teams that participated in this invitational. I'll say one more time. Anyone who's interested, if you want to see the full VODs of these streams, I'll have them up on my YouTube. Just search up Bobscop on YouTube. I'll have them up here in a couple of days. And if anyone wants, feel free to sub to the channel. Any help. I was the one that fundraised most of this. It was a labor of love. I really loved shoutcasting for all these teams and watching them play. So any last remarks, Spin, before we sign off?
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. It was really fun, shoutcasting these last 2 matchups. Some really good league came out. It was fun watching teams fight, seeing like the LCS where everyone's methodically doing everything perfectly and there's not a lot of fighting going on can get a little boring, but at this level it's really fun, man. People are just they go top lane and they fight each other, and that's that shit I like. So it was really fun to see, really fun to do. Congrats to K State, Ithaca, you guys did great too. So yeah, everybody, have a great night. Congratulations, it was very fun.
And if you want more shoutcasting, I'm going to be shoutcasting. I'm going to try to shoutcast, may not do all of it, but I'll be shoutcasting ESU's playoffs this Wednesday as well. So feel free to come by Wednesday. I'll probably have something up then. But yeah, thank you everyone. I'm going to go eat dinner. Thank you, Ben. You can go ahead and spend time with your wife now. Have a good night, everyone.